Shenzhen, the youngest city in China.
3月21号0点开始，全市陆续恢复正常生产生活秩序。2000万
Prominent resident population 17,516,061. Population aged 60 years and over 940,716. In Shenzhen, 1 out of every 20 people is elderly.
And most of those cases coming from the life care nursing
The state now confirms more than a third of Michigan's 6,000 COVID deaths.
Outbreaks at nursing homes and long-term care facilities.
The
As a
elderly
Delta
man
variant-
died.
This nursing home came down with COVID last month. 8 lost their lives.
You put your loved one in a home, counting on them to take care of your loved one. It's inhuman.
In Shenzhen, during the pandemic that has lasted more than 2 years, the total number of elderly people who died from COVID-19 infection is 3. Lichun Community Service Center, Huaqiangbei Subdistrict, Futian District, Shenzhen. Zheng Hanwei leads a team of 32 social workers. They provide protective services for 10 neighborhoods.
同志们，进来开一下会。由我们社区的党员来负责对接辖区里的独居老人。9栋10栋2个老人家，他有反映着事求，那个行动不便，这核酸，那么我们就送上门，把核酸送上门，这个由梁经理来负责啊。
After the Spring Festival in 2022, sporadic outbreaks occurred from time to time in several districts of Shenzhen. To ensure that residents are provided with sufficient supplies and living needs under the dynamic zero-COVID strategy, Zheng Hanwei has been living in the office for more than a month because he is worried about the 340 elderly people in the community.
原则上，我们是要求每天都必须要有人事或者上门或者电话。目的呢，就是一呢，看看老人家有什么生活上的需要。第二呢，就是看看他有什么突发的情况。
这样，我们下次来看你们。
这里面啊，就是里面大面积，还有一些车管理。
我们在2019年建立的这个机制啊，刚好在2020年就用上了，持续到现在，依然还在发挥着这样慢生活的这个时间段，恰恰就是我们最紧张、节奏最快的时间。虽然说人手是比较紧张，但是基本上，这么多年来啊，都能保证各项工作的有序开展。我们防疫无非也就是为了人民嘛，我们都是以这个为一切工作开展的那个原则。
Zhao Changzhou and Wu Cuizhu, an elderly couple, live in the Hongli village of Lichun community.
你也帮你做一下核酸。
The two elderlies are over 80 years old. Their children are not around. There is only a nurse taking care of their daily lives. During the last year's Spring Festival, Grandma Wu fell sick and her health deteriorated rapidly. In the words of Grandpa Zhao, she was saved from death in the hospital. The old couple used to travel with their children every year. Now, Grandma Wu needs to spend 2 afternoons a week in the hospital for hemodialysis.
考了个礼拜2、礼拜6去血头把那个尿子透出来。
To keep the hospital as green zone in the pandemic, Grandma Wu needs timely negative nucleic acid results in order to enter the hospital and do hemodialysis. Since there's no elevator in her building, and Grandma Wu has difficult walking, the community arranged for medical workers to do nucleic acid tests at her home. In Nanshan's Guanghua Street community, which is 13 kilometers away from the Lichun, about 7,000 out of over 15,000 residents are aged 16 and above.
老年人对这个疫苗不了解，或是前期对自己的基础疾病有一些顾虑，我们通过每一通电话，每一次上门登记，了解掌握老人的一些基本情况。
The increased elderly people's willingness to get vaccinated, the first priority is to dispel their misgivings. Once seeing senior residents, social workers would ask if they've been vaccinated and answer any question they have. They've also found that the elderly people who have been vaccinated may make a personal appeal to their peers to get shots. and that can save a lot of effort and achieve better results.
挺好的，也不头昏，也不发烧。
谢谢。
哎，
做好扶稳啊！
阿姨，你今年多大岁数？
我65了。
65。
对，
我80。我2次中风，高血压。他是打疫苗，老人必须有陪同。到那儿，先填一表格，填完表以后查核酸，然后呢，医生给评估，你要如实的把自己情况告诉他，有什么病，现在情况怎么样，他评估结果你适合打，才能打，认真负责的。
对，生命至上嘛。
After dispelling misgivings, it's necessary to solve the last mile problem.
所以我们有2辆私家车，1辆的士，还有2辆网格车。整个社区的所有的小区呢，我们都设了接送点。只要跟我们联系呢，哪怕只是一个老人家的话，我们都会过去接他。接种完了，我们还把他送回家。
车接车送。听说你们一直在忙？
哎呀，我们从过年开始的话，一直在上班。
哎，
家里面呢，有时候说真的，也会想。昨天有一个阿叔，他都跟我讲。我本来就不打算去打的，但是呢，你们社区来了我家1次，又来2次，来的我都觉得不好意思了，所以觉得哎呀，还是打一下会更好。
It is the dynamic zero-COVID strategy that protects the elderly in the dark days. When there was no vaccine after the outbreak began, since new variants continue to emerge, eventually, it will be the vaccine that provides the elderly with the most fundamental resistance to the pandemic. But it does not come from nowhere. Behind the increasing number of senior citizens vaccinated lies the time bought by the dynamic zero-COVID strategy. Lies the hard work of community service workers by paying door-to-door visits, patiently answering questions, and pick up and drop off at designated places time after time. Wu Qichang found that, despite for the elderly to leave, has gradually forged a special bond between him, his colleagues, and the elderly people.
佳怡，你看，你社区的孙子孙女来看你了，你的闺女来看你了啊！来，咱们进来，来。
We all grow old someday, and different decisions mean completely different fates. After 2 years of battling pandemic, 3 senior citizens died from COVID-19. Meanwhile, in New York, the number is over 47,000. In the United States, the number is over 715,000. In Europe, the number is over 1,700,000. During the pandemic, Shenzhen needs to balance a wide variety of issues. For example, the economic, social development, normal life and work, etc. However, the care for the elderly is made a priority because Shenzhen people firmly believe that it is the bottom line of the social civilization. There are people who have dedicated their youth to the city which used to be a wasteland.
我79年就来深圳了，可以说是最早一批的东方牛。这个小区
很熟悉。
对。
我当兵是53年，54年我就进广东了，进广东的气象部门工作。广东那里我都走遍了。
There are also teachers who nurtured generation of Shenzhen people and nurtured every one of us.
我是86年来深圳的。 工作调动，调到福田中学。当时深圳确实刚刚开始建设，从上海宾馆一直往西就是土路，两边全是小山包。10年见证了深圳飞速的发展，我们一般的想象不到那么快。
We believe that after dedicating his or her life to the society, one should not be left alone in a pandemic. We live in a good time because of their devotion. So now we should keep them safe, provide them with the best vaccines and treatments, do our best to protect them from COVID, and let them live a life with peace and joy.
疫情开始到现在3年了，你有什么感觉？
因为反正一天白天到晚的，如果没有这样的话，我们中国不知道怎么样。这2次呢，我们感到很幸福。
现在我老了，社区还这样对待我，没把我看得老了就不管我了。我老了以后，他们更照顾我。
我们这个小区老人家很多都是有身体不太好，
对，
但是我觉得我们小区社区的工作人员很不错。
深圳跟你说，对老人是特别的照顾关怀。
我们社区的话是非常多的这种归国华侨。
对，
当时呢，深圳在做建设的时候呢，从世界各地回到来这里，大家齐心协力来去建设深圳。所以呢，对于我们社区的老人家们的话，抱着一个很感激的这种心情。现在呢，就是到我们这一班年轻人了，为他们服务的时候。
That's why we choose dynamic zero COVID policy. We live because they lived. They live, that's how we live.